So as people are typing in some information in chat about their experience with Google Classroom, I'll go ahead and start here on slide 4. And want to make sure that, don't panic from today's workshop. It may be a lot of information coming to you. So if you don't remember everything, I put from tonight, I guess from today, since we're meeting here today, that it's okay. Remember to breathe and know that you will have the slide deck and you will have the recording that you can go back to later to access if you need to. And at any time during this presentation today, feel free, you can drop questions in chat. And if some of you out there know the answers to the questions people are dropping in chat, feel free to go ahead and answer those. If anybody sees that a lot of people are putting the same questions in, if anybody feels comfortable unmuting and interrupting me, please do so, because you will notice that it's hard to talk and read at the same time. So, or at least for me, maybe some of you can do that out there. So today, again, what we will be going over mainly about Google Classroom and how you can help your child or grandchild with their Google Classroom. If we have time, I'll talk about Google Meet. And then again, questions, please feel free to ask questions throughout today's workshop. Couple things here on slide 6, a couple different links. This LTC Spark is a web page that's a parent hub for you. Feel free to click on this web page, and this will take you to a lot more resources out there for you as you and your child's trying to navigate this new world that we're living in right now. So it's called the Spark Parent Hub, supporting parents and remote kids. And you can see some other parent trainings coming up here. And then I think it's not listed. This Google Classroom for Parents, I think this is on Monday, and it's a Q&A. So you come with your questions, or if you don't have questions, you can feel free to come and see what other questions parents or teachers may have. And feel free to bring your child or grandchild in on that as well. And then if you keep scrolling down here, this just has it's a resource hub that you can learn about the different topics over here to the left. And then if you need to learn more about Zoom, you can click on Zoom and you can come over here and click on this, and it will take you to different links to learn more about that. And that is linked here on slide 6, the LTC Spark is the link there. And then also the YouTube channel here, this is where the recording you will find from today's workshop will be there as well. So real quick, a little bit about myself. My name is Lisa Schwartz. This is my 22nd year in education. The first 19 years I did spend in the classroom teaching 6th through 9th graders. Majority of the time I did teach computers and computer science. Currently, this is my 3rd year working with the Learning Technology Center here in Illinois, and it's a program of ISB. ISB is the Illinois State Board of Education here for the state of Illinois. So I'm glad you're here joining us, and we will go ahead and get started learning about Google and Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to slide 10 here, and we're going to talk about logging into Chrome. So again, I haven't had a chance to read chat over here. I see some people are new to Google Classroom, and then some other people said they're having, they've been using Google Classroom for a while. So perfect, and keep putting info in the chat there. But briefly, I think I saw someone saying they're having trouble signing in to Google Classroom. Great lead in here to my first slide that I want to talk about. So on slide 10, the first step is to log into Chrome. So you will want to make sure that your child is logged into their school account if they are trying to access Google Classroom. So they will need to be on the Google Chrome web browser and not try to open up Google Classroom through Safari or Firefox or another web browser out there. And the reason being is because Google Classroom is supported through Chrome. All of the functions and tools work best in the Google Chrome web browser. Google just wants to Googlefy everything out there in the world. So make sure if your child's going to Google Classroom on their Chromebook, it's already probably using the Google Chrome web browser. All they have to do is click on the icon, the Google Classroom icon at the bottom of the shelf that's on the Google Chromebook, that they can just click on it and it opens up Google Classroom. If they're on a Windows device or iPad, they'll want to make sure that they're signed into their Google account and that it's their school Google account. If you look up here in the upper right-hand corner, for some reason it's not showing my Google account picture here, but right here, this is showing that I've got some other Google accounts here. So I want to make sure that I'm signed out of those and I'm only signed into my school account. So if I need to walk you through that a little bit more, feel free to let me know. But I will tell you, even in the classroom working with students, sometimes the students are saying, Mrs. Schwartz, I can't access this. And we go up here to their Google account icon, make sure that they're logged into their school account. If they have their personal account or another Google account here that is also logged in, it may be reverting back and trying to open it through that account, and that won't let them open it. If I scroll down here, slide 11 and 12 just talks about Google, but slide 13 and 14, if you look at these are all of the different apps that work within the G Suite apps for education that your child has access to. And I have a little description there of all of the different apps and where you can go to see all of these apps. If you click on a new tab, and right here to the left of your Google account, if you click on that, the Google apps, sometimes people call it the waffle. I've heard some other names, but it's where my mouse is in the upper right-hand corner here. Here's where I have all of the Google apps. And if you see, here's Jamboard. If you haven't used Jamboard before, it's like a whiteboard. But let's say I come down here and I use the Google Photos a lot or Google Slides. What I could do, you can move these apps around. So if I want to move the Google Slides, if I use it a lot, I can click on it, hold down my mouse, and move it up there. So you can rearrange the apps here under the waffle. So if you click on the waffle, that's your Google apps. These are all of the apps that you have available to you within the G Suite apps for education, or your child or grandchild has through their school account. Here on slide 15 and 16, I did put some links to resources that you can look at later. So again, whether you're trying to help your child or grandchild, if you click on some of these links, so the second one here, the student parent tutorials, if you click on that, it will, and you click twice, it'll give you some different tutorials there. So if you and your child or grandchild's having trouble with Google Drive, you can click on these links here to learn about how to move files into a folder. So you have a wealth of material here that between you and your child can learn more about the different Google apps out there. Just what you wanted, some homework to look at later, right? Now, hopefully it's going to be, resources for you to look at, to go to help your child, or your child maybe trying to explain something to you, that they could go to these links as well. So to get into Google Classroom, how do I go into Google Classroom? So if I'm a student, there's a couple different ways that I can go into the classroom. I can go up here. I'm in my Google Chrome web browser. I'm signed into my Google account. So if you see over here, I'm signed in. That's another thing. If your child or grandchild's not signed into their Google account, they won't be able to access the Google apps and Google Classroom. So make sure that they sign in. And then if I come down here, so I can go to the Google apps and go to Google Classroom, or if I come up here and I just start typing Classroom. So if I start typing Classroom, it's going to put classroom.google.com and it will take me there as well. So any of the apps out there from Google, if you don't want to go to the waffle to access it, you can type it in up here in the Omni box. So the Omnibox is where my mouse is right now, where you type in the web address for whatever you want to go to. So if I want to go to my Google Drive, I just start typing Drive, and then it comes up google.com. If I want to go to Docs, docs.google.com. So again, there's multiple ways to get to the same place. If your child, again, is using a Chromebook, they may access Google Classroom from the shelf, and that's at the bottom of their Chromebook, and they just go to the icon there. So you'll find that it may be a little confusing because there's multiple ways to do the same thing with this technology here. So right here, when your child goes into the Google Classroom app, all of their classrooms that they are a member of will show up right here. So this is the teacher view, and I'll switch to the student view here in a second. So as you can see, here's all of the classrooms that I have here in Google Classroom. So let me switch over here to the student view. So I'll go to Blake's Google Classroom. And what I did with Blake, if you look over here, that it's got Blake's picture up here. And then when I open up a new tab, as long as Blake's already signed into here, if not, he can hit sign in and go into it. Right here, it's got Blake's account. Now, I don't have any other accounts right here. This is Blake's and Blake's only. If you have other kids in your household that are working on the same device, if their accounts are logged into Blake's Chrome profile, you'll want to sign them out. So the key here with other, if you have other children in your home that have Google Classrooms or Google accounts, if I come up here to where Blake's picture is on his Chrome profile at the top of the screen, far right, if I click on that, I can add another person. So as you can see, I've got multiple Google accounts here. So if I want to go to my personal Google account, I go to this person. If I go to my work Google account, I go to this person. So as you can see here, I've got Blake's on here too. This is a sample student I have here through the LTC. But if I want to add another child here, so if I go to add and I need, if I have another kid, I could go ahead and add their name and add them as a person. So you can have several different people on here that, but by adding the people instead of adding other people to someone else's Google Chrome profile. Again, if that confuses you so much, take a deep breath, don't panic. It will make sense when your child can't get logged in, or you can't find some work that you did that maybe it went to another Google account. So again, let me go into Google Classroom here. I'll go to the waffle and then click on Google Classroom. So here's Blake's Google Classroom. So here's all of the classes he is a member of in Google Classroom. And for him to go into a Google Classroom, all he has to do is click on any of these cards. So right now he's got 7 cards here, and each card represents the class. Here, this teacher in this workshop class, they sent him an invitation to join. He doesn't have to, the teacher doesn't have to do that. They can join a class if they had the class code. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, where the plus sign is, Blake could join another teacher's class right here. And now, for the privacy and security of this, Blake can't join anybody else's classroom that's not in his school domain. So if he has a friend who goes to a neighboring school and they think it would be fun that Blake joins that classroom, he won't be able to. So just like Chad's child is at Chester East, if his child wanted to join, again, let's say, he's friends with Blake and wants to join Blake's class at the ltcillinois.org, it will not allow Chad's child to do that, and vice versa. If Blake tries to join a Chester East class, it won't allow him to join because it's locked down. It won't allow other students to join outside of their Google domain. So the privacy is and security is there. So another thing here with Google Classroom, right up here on Blake's screen, we have the to-do and we have the calendar. So if your child wants to go in and see what they need to work on, they can click on the to-do here, and this will show them what they have to work on. So if I look right here at the top of the screen, I've got what's assigned, what's missing, and what's done. So right here, it shows all of the work that's assigned. There's 35 more assignments up here, up above. These assignments here didn't have due dates. If I go to missing, this will show you what your child has missing. It'll be, the date will be in red, meaning that date has passed. And then if I go to the Done tab here, this will show me what my child has completed and their grade, if the teacher decides to put grades in Google Classroom. So right here on this assignment, he got a 5 out of 10, 15 out of 20. This shows he got a 7 out of 10, but it shows it's not turned in. So a couple of things could have happened. He could have turned it in. The teacher gave him a grade back, and the teacher's allowing him to go and redo it. So he might have unsubmitted it, redid what he needed to do, and then he will need to turn that back in. So right here, this was under the to-do area. And you will only be able to see this if your child is logged in to Google Classroom. So again, this is Blake's Google Classroom. I, as a parent, can't log into his classrooms to see what's going on because, again, I don't have a Google account within his school district. So if I want to see what Blake's doing, I ask him, hey, sign into your Google Classroom. Let me see what's going on. Let me see your to-do, what you've got assigned, missing, or done. So if I go over here, up here to the to-do, I can see an overarching view of all of the classes. I can also see that there is a calendar. What happened here, as soon as a classroom is created and your child is in that classroom, you can see when you have assignments due on the calendar view. Some people like the calendar view, some people don't. You have choice whether you want to use the calendar view. So I've got it all classes. So right now he has no assignments due in all classes, but if I go week by week, if I go back, it should show me where I have some. So in this week right here, I've got Blake had some assignments due. And you can see they're different colors. The colors represent the different classes. So right from Google Calendar, your child can go and look at the assignments day by day as well. So again, there's multiple ways that they can see what's due or what's coming up to be due. So this is just on the home page, the landing page of Google Classroom. I haven't even gotten into one of the classes yet. So let me go back here to the slide deck here. Real quick here, how does Google Classroom work? So I kind of showed you a little bit there in the beginning. The teachers will be able to store and share online resources for their classes. What's nice about this is they can post all of their assignments, links right to Google Classroom. And right now, depending on where you're at where you are at here in the state of Illinois, is we've got some schools who are face-to-face. We have some schools that are totally remote. We have some schools that are a hybrid model, meaning that maybe they go every other day, or some schools that are going every day. But we're having students who are being, either are testing positive for COVID or being quarantined. So they're coming in and out of the classroom at any time during the month. So one nice thing with Google Classroom is that if the teacher uses Google Classroom, then all of the work can be there, whether it's for a student who's in class or who had to end up going, being quarantined, that hopefully that they're not missing anything, that the teachers, learned how to use Google Classroom and can push out everything within Google Classroom. And then the other thing is with Google Classroom on the back end, besides it creating that Google Calendar that I just showed you, it also creates a folder in Google Drive that all of the work your child does also gets housed in their Google Drive. So it's, no, the days are gone where the student says, oh, it didn't save. It will save their work automatically and then put it in Google Drive. So, and then as soon as they're done with their work, then they can turn it in. So I'll show you all of that. Here, kind of following along on the slide deck, joining a class. I kind of showed you in the beginning of how Blake could join a class, but again, a teacher could invite Blake to a class as well. So they could either enter a code to join the class, or the teacher could go ahead and invite them to join the class. So a couple different ways to do that. So what I'm going to talk about next is the stream. So I'm going to go back to Blake's classroom here, and we'll go on into a class. And if I click on this Google 101 class, up here at the top of the page, we've got 3 tabs. We have the stream, we have the classwork, and we have people. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the stream tab. Now, here on the stream tab, you will see, you may or may not see a Google Meet link. This is where your child, if your school district has decided for the child to meet with their teacher with the Google Meet link, this is all they would have to do is click on that Meet link. If some school districts choose not to have that there, that's fine. But what's nice about this Google Meet link, again, it's safe and secure. If your child clicks on it, let's say, oh, they need to meet, with the teacher. They're meeting with the teacher every day. What time is it right now? Let's say at 2:30. The child got on at 2:28 here. Do you see it doesn't let him in yet? So don't panic if your child can't get into the Google Meet yet. The child can't get in there until the teacher actually clicks on that link. So again, just for privacy and security, so the kids aren't in the meeting room without the teacher. So what Blake could keep doing is keep hitting refresh or reload the page until the teacher joins. And then once the teacher joins, then it will, show the teacher, it'll show the other kids that are joining that Google Meet. Also here on the stream, you've got upcoming work. So you can see what is upcoming for this class only. So earlier I showed you all of the classes. This is just for this class, the upcoming work that Blake has for this class. Right now, he doesn't have any. And then in the stream, it can be used for a couple different things. This is where the teacher can post announcements. And then on the reverse side, students can post and share too, if and only if the teacher has turned that setting on. So right here, the teacher is allowing the kids to share something with the class. So if Blake wants to share something with the class, he can type in hello. If there's a funny video or something that, he wants to share, or something that he did over the weekend, he could share that. So he could type in hello, he could type a message here. And then he could come down here and hit add. He, as the student, can even add something from his Google Drive here, a link, a file, or a YouTube video. Now, again, this is if the teacher has turned this setting on and allows the kids to post. So if he wants to, he can hit hello and then post here. If your child can't see this, share something with your class, that means the teacher's turned it off and that the teacher can only post announcements here. Now, how I've got this Google Classroom set up is anytime I put in a new assignment here, it shows up in the stream. But me as the teacher, I could turn that off where the stream could only be used for announcements. But again, I went ahead and put that in here. So there's a condensed notification here to let Blake know, hey, you've got a new assignment here. And he can see his assignments right here. Now, if I keep scrolling down on the stream, here's where the teacher posted hello, and then it shows Blake posted a comment, and it says one class comment. Now, again, I've got the commenting turned on for the students, so other students can post a comment here. And there could be 29, comments here all at once, and you can see what everyone wrote. What I like to use this as a teacher, again, it took some time to teach the kids and, to teach about digital citizenship, that everyone can see this, that, to get over the fact that they see their name, they see their picture, that, hopefully they would use this to get help. But again, depending on the age of your child and depending on the teacher's comfort level, whether they have that turned on or off. So again, I can keep scrolling down. As you can see, the stream, it can fill up fast. So here in this classroom, this is another teacher. I have a co-teacher in this class. Can type something in here too, and then again, you can see comments there. You can see the teacher, besides having a condensed notification here of new assignments, she can even post, or the teacher can post videos, announcements, things right here as well. So this is in the stream, okay? Then in the classwork, or before I go into the classwork, are there any questions on the stream? And if there's been questions in chat, any questions about stream yet? Okay, yep. Trudy, thanks for that comment there, that it does seem more clear. It's just like with anything, anytime you're learning something new, it may seem overwhelming until you get into it. So again, hopefully take lots of deep breaths out there, and we'll get through this. And it's just the same thing with what your child's going through. Not only are they learning new curriculum, but they're trying to learn and navigate all of this new technology that they're learning as well. So then going into classwork. So classwork, this is where it could be very different depending on how the teacher's got it set up for your child. But here's where they will see their work. Now, right here, what a teacher can do, they can, over here on the left-hand side, they can put topics here. So some of you who have been using Google Classroom with your child before, now if you go over and take a look at the topics over here, it can be different. It's set up how the teacher has it set up. I will tell you, with going remote, totally remote with students, teachers changed the topics over here. They changed it to the week. So this was the week of, was this October or September 20th? What was Monday? Anyway, let's just say Monday was September 20th, and the teacher could put a topic over here, the week of September 20th, and put all of the work under that topic. So then your child would know, hey, I need to go to the week of September 20th to get all of my work for my class for that week. In this case, I set this up where you can see that a teacher could put all of the work under a certain chapter or math or a certain topic, by geography, science, or all of the quizzes. So this can become overwhelming. So there are some things here, and I'll kind of go through it. Again, it depends on how the teacher has it set up on the back end for them. So right here with this classwork, if the teacher decides not to put it in a topic, it'll show up here at the first part of it. If the teacher decides to put it in a topic, then it'll be under that topic, and it won't necessarily be in chronological order of when it's due or when it was assigned. So right here, you can see, if I go down here to the farm, we've got some assignments that are due different days and different months. Again, it's based off of, since it was put in under a topic. So another thing, as I'm scrolling down here on classwork, do you see that these icons? So if it's this icon right here, that it kind of looks like a clipboard, that means it's an assignment. If I keep scrolling down, do you see this right here? That is a question that the teacher assigned for your child to answer. So a question usually doesn't have anything to turn in, but they need to answer it. So let me just go into this one. What is the capital of Illinois? If I click on that, it shows it's missing, so Blake hasn't answered that. So what he can do then, what is the capital of Illinois? It says right over here on the right-hand side, type your answer here. So then he can type in his answer and then hit turn in. What your child will need to make sure they do is hit turn in. If they don't turn it in, it won't let the teacher know that they've completed it. Now, another thing on this question, do you see, since class comments are turned on in Stream, Blake can right here add a class comment right here. And he can put whatever he wants, okay? And this class comment will go to the whole class under this, for this assignment. But if you keep looking over here to the right-hand side, private comment, if he wants to privately chat with the teacher about this question or about this assignment, he can right here. So this private comment, he can, type whatever he needs to, and this will only go to the teacher and not the whole class. So then he and the teacher could have a conversation back and forth, and it's all right within this question that is about what is the capital of Illinois. So once he's answered this, then he can click turn in, and it will turn in. Now, the teacher has it set up that he can see classmate answers. You may not always see that. The teacher, again, has choice over the matter if they want the kids to see each other's answers. So your child could click on see classmates answers and see how the other kids answered if the teacher turned that on. So here's Blake's answer, here's classmate answers. But again, if the teacher turned that off, you wouldn't be able to see other classmates' answers. Up here, it shows it's turned in late. And then again, if he needs to go back in and edit this at any time, Blake could go back and hit edit, and then he can change it. But do you see this? Your classmates and teacher will see your previous answer until you resubmit. Okay, so then he can turn it back in, and then it's there. But again, depending on what the question is, if the teacher's doing a quick exit slip to see, where the student's knowledge is, they may not have this where they can see classmates' answers. So don't panic on that, but you'll be able to see it right there or here if they have that enabled. So then for Blake to go back, he can just click on this Google 101, the title of his class. When he does that, it takes him back to the home page, the stream. If he goes back to the classwork, then goes back to that tab, he can go and see his questions. And did you see this? Let me go back one. Now that he's answered this question, it's grayed out. So if it's kind of highlighted, that means he still needs to do that. But if it's grayed out, then it means it's completed. So down here, if he needed to do some work on the farm, and this one was research an animal. So if we click on that, we can click on the view assignment. And right here, sometimes the teacher might say, give some information here for the parents. It shows right up here how many points it's worth and when it's due. And again, even though this is an assignment, he can still put a class comment here. He can put a private comment. And right here, the teacher shared some work with them. Maybe it's the instructions, maybe it's in this case, it's a Google Doc, and maybe they have to do some work on it. And then over here on the right-hand side, it says unsubmit. So it says he's turned it in, but there's no work attached. Now, sometimes if there's nothing to turn in, if this was an editable document over here, he could have just completed it over here, but marked as done here. So then again, if he hits unsubmit right here, he can unsubmit it. And then when he unsubmits it, he could work on it. But since there was nothing here for him to really unsubmit, all he had to do on this assignment was mark it as done. This lets the teacher know he's completed with it. Now, Will sometimes your child click on mark as done and not be completed? They may. This happened a lot. So as a teacher, I just knew to look at the assignments to see if they really had it done or if they still needed to do it. But you know, kids out there, sometimes they'll say, oh, mom and dad, I'm done with all of my homework. And they just click mark as done, but they're really not. So you as a parent or grandparent or guardian, what you could do here is have them go into their Google Classroom, and you could look at the actual assignment, have them click on the assignment and look at it to see then if they completed whatever the assignment they needed to do. Okay. So even though it says unsubmit and there was no work attached, you really don't have to have them unsubmit here. You could just have them click on this document. This was an editable document that your child could work on right from clicking on this. I will tell you, it is a little confusing here, but just like with anything, you know, the more you work with it, it will make more sense later on. If not, ask your child or grandchild and can maybe work through it together. So again, I went back to the Google 101. When I did that, it took me back to the stream. That's the homepage of my Google Classroom here. And if I go into the classwork, I can go back. So let me go back into another assignment here. So let me go into this assignment here. Here again, the teacher shares some links in a video. And so this shows that it was assigned to him. And let's say he needs to work on it. So after Blake looked at, you know, the instructions, because maybe the teacher shared instructions with the kids through a video, through a screencast, he maybe went to this website, then he comes up here and the teacher's giving him choice. So he can go up here and click on add or create. What's nice about this, if your child goes here from the Google assignment, if he adds or create right from here, it will put the name of this assignment right on it. So let's say he gets some choice and he needs to create a Google drawing. Right from Google Classroom, right from this assignment, he can go and create a new Google Doc, a slide, a sheet, or a drawing. These are 4 different apps that Google has incorporated into Google Classroom. So let me go ahead and click on Google Drawings here and show you that Blake can go to Google Drawings and create it right within this assignment. So what's nice about this then, it puts his name here. So if I click on Blake's name, it puts Blake's name here, and then it puts the name of the assignment. So the name of this assignment was September 4th, Google Jamboard. So if I go back to the assignment, I'm at the top of the screen here going back and forth between the tabs. This takes me to my Google Classroom tab. As soon as I clicked on this assignment here, the Google Drawings, it put it into a new tab up here. This is another thing that could kind of get confusing going back and forth to the tabs. Over time, you or your child will kind of remember these icons. So if you see a person up here, that icon is usually the Google Classroom icon. If you see this icon right here, it's the red icon with a circle and a square that represents Google Drawings. So then what Blake can do, he can go in and complete his Google drawing or whatever the assignment was. And let me just fill that out. Now, so Blake's working on this. He hasn't turned it in. So what is nice about this from the teacher view of this, let me go to the teacher view. So me as the teacher of his class, I can go in and see what he's doing in real time, even if he needs some maybe help. So if I go down here, this is the teacher view, go down here to this assignment, this will show me what Blake is working on. So if I click right here, this is again the teacher view, I can see Blake started this. He started creating a Google drawing. Here's what he's got done so far. Now he hasn't turned anything in yet, but If I see like, oh, Blake, good job, maybe you can add some other things. I can add a comment over here on the right-hand side to Blake and post it. And so Blake will see that real time. So even though he hasn't turned it in, I can see what he's working on. So if I go back to Blake's screen, okay, I didn't even have to reload it. It shows a private comment here from the teacher. So even though he hasn't turned it in, if he's struggling, the teacher can go see before the due date to see if they can help in any way. And then when Blake turns it in, then they'll grade it. So what's the difference? Why do we want your child to turn something in? As soon as your child turns it in, they can't edit that. So it doesn't make the teacher go any crazier than what they think they are going right now during this time. But no, in reality here, when they turn it in, it gives the teacher ownership of it. So when they're grading it, the child can't edit it while they're grading it. So when your child hits turn in here, and they come down here, it says, hey, are you sure this is what you want to turn in? Click turn in. Now, so it's turning in. Blake, if he goes in and clicks on it, there's a difference. Do you see it says view only? He can't make changes here. I don't know if you look right here, it doesn't say view only yet, but as soon as I try to do something to this, if I try to insert something to it, or let me just do another shape here. Okay, it says my access has expired. So here's another thing. If your child's saying, hey, I can't work on my assignment anymore, Grandma, and they know they still need to work on it, what they need to do then, it shows reload, what they have to do is go back to their Google Classroom, go back to the assignment and hit unsubmit. When they hit unsubmit, then they have rights to edit it again. So Blake realizes, oh, I forgot to do something, he can hit unsubmit, and then he can go back in and edit it and have editing rights. So if I go back here to reload this page, he's got editing rights back. If you look right here, this was view only when he turned it in, and it shows the teachers on it as well. But if I reload it, since he unsubmitted it, he's got editing rights back. So as you can see, I can have the same assignment open in 2 tabs and it doesn't affect it. But I'll go ahead and close one because as soon as you do turn it in, you can't go back in and edit it unless if you unsubmit it. So then let's say he's finished his work, he can then turn it back in. But what's nice about this add or create, if he's got several different things to add to this assignment, he can, or he can create it from here. So let's say he did do a Google Drawings outside of this assignment, he could go and get that from his Google Drive. He could go get that from a link. He could go get it from a file. So, if he needed to add some other things to this assignment, he just clicks on what he wants. Here's the recent tab. He can upload something. He can go to his Google Drive or anything that's stored in his Google Drive, click on it and hit insert. So he can insert some other things there. Now that's file, it wouldn't allow him to attach it because he doesn't own it. He's got to own that file in order to attach it. But if that was the case, he could turn all of that in at once. But again, if you create it right from the assignment, what's nice about that is it puts their name and the title of their assignment right on the naming convention for that assignment. So if you look up here, it's got Blake's name and the name of that assignment. So let me turn it back in. And then again, if your child's worried about it being late, let's say they turned it in on time, they unsubmitted it, and now it says it's going to be late. The teacher can see real time. So here's back at the teacher, Google Classroom. The teacher can see what Blake's done. So if the teacher goes up here to see history, the teacher then can see, let me reload the page. Then the teacher can see, here's when Blake turned it in. Here's when he unsubmitted it, turned it in. So I went backwards. Here's when it was assigned, he turned in, unsubmitted, and turned in. So it timestamps it, and it also date stamps it. of all of the times the child turned it in or unsubmitted it. So you've got that. The teacher can see that as well. All right, I know on the classwork tab there, we've covered a lot. If you look back here on the slide deck, I've got some slides here that you can refer back to, and it gives you some visual of how teachers can assign work and then how your child can look at work. So earlier I said it could be an assignment that the teacher pushes out. It could be a question, okay? So feel free to look back here. Right here, slide 32 and 33 talks about what your child can turn in or mark as done if there's nothing to turn in. If the teacher shared out an editable file that they worked on that they wouldn't have to necessarily turn in over here, they just mark as done. Grades. As soon as the teacher's graded an assignment and they've returned them, you should be able to see your child's grade up here. So do you see how this says 100 points up here on this assignment? When the teacher has graded it and returned it to your child, it'll show a 100 out of 100 or 90 out of 100 up here. Okay. One other thing here I want to show you on the kids, just like in the beginning, I showed you, and don't panic if you forgot. You're like, Lisa, that was almost an hour ago. When Blake was in, the home page of his Google Classroom, I showed you to do right here, where we can see everything that's assigned across all of the classes. We can see what's missing and what's done. Well, that might be overwhelming for you and your child. So what you could do, there's 3 lines over here. It's a main menu. It's on the left-hand side of your screen. And let me just go back. I can go back to my classes that way. I can come up here to the 3 lines. It opens up this main menu here. I can see a to-do. I can see the to-do here as well. Or if I go back into a classroom, let me just go back into the Google 101 class. I can see the to-do, I think just for that classroom. And I think I'm doing something wrong. Okay, yeah, under the classwork tab, do you see where it says view your work? So if you want to do it class by class, Blake or your child could go view your work, and we can see what he has for just this classroom. This is the Google 101 class. We can see everything. We can see assigned. Here's all of his assignments. We can see, okay, let's see what he's done, what's been returned to him. Here's what's been returned to him. Okay, and then here's what's missing. So like, oh, Blake, you've got a lot of work you've got to do. Okay, we can see what's missing. And then again, it depends on your school district and your child's teacher, what the policy is on turning in work. Now, here's one other tip here. Up here in the 3 lines, the main menu, if you go all the way down here to settings, if you click on settings here, this is what allows you to change the email notifications. So right here, I have for Blake's Google 101 class, all of the email notifications turned off, especially if your child's in multiple Google classrooms. He could get, or she could get, a lot of emails, and depending on the age, whether they check the emails or not. I've learned over time, I turn off my email notifications because I know where to look in Google Classroom. In the beginning, if you're not for sure about where to look for some of these notifications, turn on your email notifications. And then what you can do here is turn certain ones on or off. So if I want an email notification every time there's a comment on my post, I can turn that on. If not, I can turn that off. Do I want a email notification that when someone mentions me in a comment? Again, just click on it and I can turn it on or off. So you have all of these settings here that you can turn on or off. And then if I come down here, class notifications, I can turn email and mobile notifications on or off for a class too. So again, I can select just for a certain class right here as well. I don't have to go into each class. So if I want all of my email notifications and mobile notifications turned off for all of my classes, then I can turn it off right here as well. So a couple ways to do that. Again, it's up here in the 3 lines. It's the main menu in the left-hand corner, and I can go to settings. And this is what settings looks like. In the beginning, I know some people like the email notifications until they get familiar enough with the Google Classroom. And again, I have some people who've been using Google Classroom for years and they still like the email notifications. I know as a teacher, I ended up turning mine off because, you know, throughout the day having hundreds of kids, it filled up my inbox. Another thing right here under the main menu is archived classes. So if your child's been in classes, whether it was last year, last quarter, whatever it was, if a teacher archives the classes, they can still access them under the archived classes. So here Blake can see everything from the Intro to Computer Science class, but the teachers just archived it. When a teacher archives a class, that means that nothing, you can't add or edit anything, but they can still see what was in that class. So again, that was under archived classes. Depending on how your child's school district or a teacher sets it up, whether they'll have the archived classes there or not. All right, any questions on this, the stream or not, or on the Classwork tab?
I think, like I said, I just subscribe to your YouTube channel. I'm a big YouTube guy. Everything's on there. I guess for the parents out here, and the grandparents and what have you, what would be the, you know, your basic, what you're going to want? You're going to go through Google Chrome. You're going to want to Google Google Classroom and go that route, or I think that's the main thing. How are we accessing the Google Classroom? For me.
Yeah, Chad, you said it. Make sure when you access the Google Classroom, you are in Google Chrome web browser. You're exactly right.
Okay, so you just want to Google the Classroom and take it from there.
Yeah, and make sure that your child is logged into their Google account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to get on, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Good, good.
Yeah, and yeah, great question and great statement there, Chad.
I'm here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. And we do have the Q&A next week. I don't have the link to
I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
is that you, Trudy?
what I was asking was, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, this is Trudy. My question is that as a backup, I have my child's school Google profile on my laptop. So she does have a separate Google profile. I have, well, I can log in as her because if the Chromebook goes down, I'd like to make sure that she, you know, she can still access things.
Hey, Trudy, you're breaking up a bit. I don't know.
My question is that a good idea? Because, you know.
Yeah, for a backup.
Yeah,
right?
It's
Yeah,
okay. I'll type.
You'll type it in? Okay. I think what you were asking, for a backup, is it okay to have your child's Google Chrome profile and account?
Okay, so great.
Computer? Yeah, that's fine.
So
if you want to turn off your camera.
Idea of me. Yeah. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's better. And so same thing with your, if you ever have issues with your kids.
Yeah, no, because what I'd like to do is we share custody. So basically what we ran into is that there are a lot of either she isn't getting into the classroom. I don't know if she's not refreshing often enough until the teacher gets in. But I know that her inbox is overflowing. So now that I know about how the to-do list, that makes it easier. I can show her and her mother how to go ahead, and so that way I can have a running list of what is missing and what is not.
Yes, yeah, that's perfect. And the other thing I didn't talk about is guardian summaries. Sometimes some teachers allow you to get a summary of your child's work at the end of each day or each week. But I will tell you, I've got kind of explanation here on slides, starting with slides 43. Some teachers have that turned on, some don't. But the best way to see what your child is doing in Google Classroom is having them log on so you can see what they're doing, because you only see through the Guardian summaries, you only see missing work, upcoming work, and class activity. So it's a limited view. So again, feel free to look at these slides, starting with slide 43, to learn about Guardian summaries. But if you want to know and see what your child's doing, have them log into Google Classroom and walk you through some things.
I'll send the link to him.
All right, I know I do want to honor your time. I apologize, it is a couple minutes after 3, but I do have a quick evaluation here. I think it's 4 questions. Here on the slide deck, it's the slide 54. I can put that in the chat as well. That, let me copy the link, that you can complete and, you know, give suggestions. And feel free, oh, it's not, sorry. Trying to do 2 things at once. Continue to talk and try to, okay. I guess that was the link. Okay, that's the evaluation link. So anyway, feel free to, if you have questions, we can stay on for a little bit to ask more questions. If not, we have that question and answer session. I believe it's, I can get you the link if you need the link. I think it's Monday or Tuesday. But feel free, you can ask questions right now, unmute yourself and ask, whether it's me or other parents out there. Or you can put them in chat as well. But I do want to respect your time. If you need to go, feel free to go. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I will go ahead and stop the recording as well.